They are being asked to turn up their thermostats to 78 degrees or higher. They're being asked to avoid using dishwashers and other large appliances and to hold off on charging their electric vehicles. The contrast could not be more clear of how out of touch this legislature has become. We are in a building where we can turn down the thermostat, and we'll ask to turn down the thermostat. And if the power goes out, which it did in the past, there are natural gas generators to back up this building.
This is Marcel with IrnieracingNews. California in the news. California residents are being asked not to charge their electric vehicles to conserve energy amid a brutal heat wave, just days after the state announced a plan to ban sales of new gasoline-powered cars by 2035. Hey guys, the irony is really unfolding now with a leftist agenda and what is actually happening in our world. So to continue the story, the California Independent System Operator, which runs the state's power grid, issued warnings, multiple bulletins this week. This is a September 1st of extreme heat during the Labor Day weekend that is likely to strain the grid with increased energy demands. So everybody wants to be comfortable with AC and charge their electric vehicles to go out and about. So the grid operator in California asked residents to voluntarily reduce their power consumption by avoiding the use of large appliances, you know, your dishwasher, washer, dryer. And please don't charge your electric vehicles between the peak hours of 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. So you have the California government, the leftist governor. We all need to have electric vehicles. We all need electric vehicles, but oh, we don't have a way to charge your electric vehicles. Sorry, we're not really figuring out the grid. We're going about this backwards. We're going to force you into compliance. And then there's going to be minimal amounts of power, minimal amounts of food. And that way they can control you by feeding you just a little bit that you need to survive.
Why, as the Dutch government, a guy called Rutte, the Prime Minister, completely owned by the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab, why has he just announced that the Netherlands, the second biggest exporter of food in the world, is targeting farmers to destroy them and get them off the land, which is where all these farming protests in the Netherlands have come from? At a time of food shortages and supply chain problems, you are targeting the second biggest exporter of food in the bloody world to destroy its farming base? Why are you doing that? If people depend on you for what's left of the food, you control them. Where food is abundant and cheap, you do not control them. Where energy is cheap and abundant, you do not control them. Scarcity equals dependency equals control. And that's why they're targeting the food chain, they're targeting the energy supply, they're targeting everything.
So let's talk about survival and on the food system and on the electrical grid. And there's a kitty cat coming to say hello. What we all really need to survive is we need a strong local food system. And we have my buddy's onions and so forth and so forth. What do we have in here? Some cucumbers. Cucumbers, oh yeah. And broccoli, oh, scrumptious. And melons. Whatever melons these are, I'm not sure. Ooh, these look kind of like little mini watermelons. Oh, here's watermelons. Oh yeah, and carrots hiding below. You can see the carrot. The world of humanity, there's a certain section of the population has just gone stupid.
The president thinks that there is an extremist threat to our democracy. The president has been clear as he can be on that particular piece when we talk about a democracy, when we talk about our freedoms. The way that he sees is the MAGA Republicans are the most energized part of the Republican Party. This is an extreme threat to our democracy, to our freedom, to our rights.
Let's force electric vehicles. Let's force the farmers off their land in the Netherlands so we can take their land and limit everyone's resources and get everybody on the teat of the little government teat where you can just suckle enough milk. We're just getting played, everybody. We're all getting played. Anyways, let's check out some footage.
We have an energy crisis in California. Californians are facing an unreliable electricity grid. Californians are paying for more in energy costs, and they're getting less in power. And while this budget funds the governor's political agenda, that agenda may not keep the lights on. The irony should not be lost on this legislature. Yesterday, this legislative body jammed through a bill to limit much-needed domestic energy production in our state. Today, we are debating a budget that excludes funding for carbon capture technology for oil production and puts more and more restrictions on reliable and affordable energy. And what do Californians have to face heading into this weekend? They are being asked to turn up their thermostats to 78 degrees or higher. They're being asked to avoid using dishwashers and other large appliances and to hold off on charging their electric vehicles. All during the times of 4 to 9. And the contrast could not be more clear of how out of touch this legislature has become. We are in a building where we can turn down the thermostat, and we'll ask to turn down the thermostat. And if the power goes out, which it did in the past, there are natural gas generators to back up this building. But this legislative body is willing to pass a budget and policies that will place more burdens on Californians who are being asked to sacrifice their well-being because of this governor's political desire.
The peak load for electricity is currently projected to exceed 48,000 megawatts on Monday, the highest of the year. So here comes the power grid strain, guys. And at the same time, California won't use their own oil and gas industry. It's just like Canada's Trudeau. We have tons of oil and gas that we could be self-sufficient in Canada, but no, we're not allowed to use our own resources and become a self-sustaining country like Russia. Instead, we're reliant on everybody else, and we have to ship in all our food and use oil in different capacities. And so California, the funny thing is California is actually getting power from us, from our hydro grids. Where are we living? What is this planet?